My wife's first love has been diagnosed with a terminal illness, and his only wish before he dies is to have a wedding with her. I couldn't possibly agree to such an absurd request, but unexpectedly, my wife secretly held a wedding with her first love at the hospital, and I caught them red-handed. When I was about to divorce her because of this, their family started to morally blackmail me one after another. I didn't care at all and resolutely went through with the divorce. Who would have thought that, perhaps out of too much happiness, what was supposed to last only half a year turned into a year and a half before he finally passed away. Before the funeral was even finished, my ex-wife called me wanting to reconcile. I chuckled nonchalantly. "Who are you? My wife is pregnant and hasn't even reached 3 months. We can't risk it." Ding! Story Shots reminds you to click the subscribe button at the bottom right corner to read the full novel. My wife is getting married to someone else. It's outrageous that I was the last to find out. Standing at the wedding venue, I felt angry yet desolate. What does our years of love mean to her family? The origins of this matter must start from yesterday. It's been 3 years since we got married, and my parents started pressuring us to have kids again. I dodged the question as usual. What's the point of having children these days? I'm already working like a horse. Do I need to bring another child into the world to suffer? No kids, no kids. Just the 2 of us is fine. My parents left helplessly. I also started to waver a bit. I always thought that if I couldn't provide a good life for a child, then I shouldn't bring one into this world to suffer. My wife had no objections to this. So after dating for 2 years and being married for 3, we hadn't had any kids. But now we've paid off our mortgage early, and we have some savings. My small business makes a net profit of around $200,000 a year, so financially we are fairly comfortable. As for my wife, I haven't asked about her salary over the years, but she doesn't seem too busy, so she should have some time, right? Could it be that we can have a child now? I decided to discuss it with my wife. Unexpectedly, her phone was unreachable, and I searched everywhere, not knowing where she had gone. It wasn't until midnight that she stumbled back home, crying as soon as she entered. "Honey, I'm sorry. I might need to marry someone else." I was dumbfounded at that moment. She sat down on the sofa, swaying, wiping her tears as she spoke. "Honey, Jason only has half a year left to live. I can't just leave him alone. I have to fulfill his wish. I'm so sorry, really sorry. Boo-hoo." I knew who Jason was. He and my wife had grown up together. When my wife's family had trouble back then, Jason helped her a lot. Over the years, our families have kept in touch. I was a bit cautious, but not overly so, because Jason was not only older than both my wife and me, but he wasn't handsome and didn't earn more than I did, so I never thought my wife would have feelings for him. Even if their contact had increased a bit during this time, I didn't think much of it. Who would have thought she would drop such a bomb on me today? I held back my anger and asked her, "What do you mean?" My wife clutched her chest and cried, tears streaming down her face. "Jason has a terminal illness, and he hopes to have a wedding with me before he dies. I'm so sorry. I can't refuse him. Isn't this ridiculous? Shouldn't Jason be seeing a doctor since he has a terminal illness? Shouldn't he go to a big city hospital for treatment and surgery to live a couple more years? What kind of absurdity is it to want to marry my wife? Does he think that having a wedding will somehow cure his illness? To take it a step further, even if Jason has given up on treatment and is truly close to death, why should my wife fulfill his dying wish?" But looking at my wife, who was crying like a child, I couldn't bring myself to say harsh words. I made her some hangover soup, wiped her face, changed her clothes, and waited for her to wake up in the morning to explain everything clearly. "My name is Aaron Brown, and I'm a small businessman running a cat shelter. I rent a fairly large house in the suburbs for the shelter, and we have 3 chain pet hospitals in the city. I graduated as a veterinarian and started my business after college, growing from 1 pet hospital and 3 cats to what it is now. My wife is Lisa Daniels, and she works as a translator at a foreign trade company. I wanted to buy a Russian breeding male cat, but I didn't speak Russian, so I had to rely on her. I fell in love with her at first sight and pursued her for 6 months before she agreed to be my girlfriend. After 2 years of dating, I finally got her to marry me, biting the bullet and giving her family a bride price of $660,000. In these 3 years of marriage, she has managed the household well, and our life has been simple yet happy. So I truly didn't expect her to do something so extreme. The next day when I woke up, the house was already empty. Lisa Daniels sent me a message on my phone. "I'm sorry, darling. I know you won't agree, but Jason Thornhill means a lot to me. I can't just watch him die without peace. Once this is over, I will make it up to you properly. I'm sorry, darling. I love you." I was stunned with anger. Before I could regain my composure, my friend sent me a message. "Aaron, what's going on? Your wife just came by my studio to book a wedding photo shoot with another man. My friend is a photographer. I asked him to help me take pictures of my cat, and we have a pretty good relationship. He also knows Lisa Daniels." I stared at my phone, my mind racing. Wait, how dare Lisa Daniels do this? Booking her wedding photos with my friend for another man? I called her directly. "Why did you go to Steve to book wedding photos?" Lisa Daniels replied gently, "Darling, Jason really doesn't have much time left. I've seen his reports. He has late-stage liver cancer and can't undergo surgery. The doctor said with conservative treatment, he might live for another 6 months. Please, have a little compassion." I exhaled sharply. "If you do this, we will get a divorce." Lisa's voice sounded sad. "Darling, I love you, not him. Otherwise, I wouldn't have married you. I only feel sympathy for Jason and want to fulfill his last wish. Besides, during my time in high school when I had no one to rely on, it was Jason's family that took me in. I have to repay their kindness. Darling, there's really nothing between us. After all these years, don't you trust me?" I shouted in anger. "This isn't about trust. Ask any man if they would agree to something like this." Lisa sniffled a couple of times. "I thought you were different from other men, darling. Calling me darling won't help. I'm telling you, I can't agree to this. If you dare to go through with it, we'll get a divorce. I'll report you for bigamy. Do you believe that?" Not wanting to hear her nonsense any longer, I hung up the phone. We had been happy together for several years, so I still wanted to give her a chance. But unexpectedly, I gave her a chance, and she didn't give me one. "Aaron, your wife has booked her wedding dress with that man in my studio, and they've even scheduled a photo shoot with me." "Aaron, what exactly is going on?" I struggled to hold back my anger. "Steve, I'm sorry. This is embarrassing. Please keep this confidential for me. I'll buy you a drink another day and explain everything. What position has Lisa put me in with her actions? Has she considered my feelings at all? As for compassion, I have it, but it's limited. Just like most people wouldn't go bankrupt donating to charity. I can't let my wife have a wedding with another man just because of sympathy. To be honest, if my wife just visited him a few more times, I wouldn't say anything. But their current behavior is simply stabbing at my bottom line. If I could tolerate this, I wouldn't be a man." Fuming, I headed to my wife's family home to demand an explanation. What I heard next was even more shocking. My in-laws live in an old community with limited parking, so I always park outside before going in. The greenery in the community is like a maze. Just after I turned a corner, I heard my mother-in-law's voice. "Oh, if I had known, I wouldn't have let Lisa marry that Aaron Brown. Jason is a good kid. It would have been great if they could be together." Upon hearing this, I quickly crouched down and hid behind a hedge. I wanted to hear what else they would say. It's just that the two kids were not meant to be. I really didn't expect my Jason to have such a temper that he could literally stress himself into liver cancer. How am I supposed to live with this? Then came a series of quiet sobs and my mother-in-law's comforting words. "Oh, so the other person is Jason's mother. Oh, back then it was just two kids being stubborn, and that's why Lisa got married. If it weren't for your family, Lisa would have suffered so much. I know she's actually happy with Jason, but who would have thought? Yeah, who would have thought they would break up? It's just that my Jason is too clumsy with words. If he had bowed down sooner, we wouldn't have ended up here." I was stunned inside. So Jason was actually my wife's first love. And I had been completely unaware. Meanwhile, their conversation continued. I know my Jason hurt Lisa back then. I know it's a bit much for him to ask for this now, but it's his last wish before he passes away. I'm just asking you to let him leave with peace of mind. My mother-in-law was silent for a moment before softly saying, Oh, what a tragic fate. Since Lisa has agreed, we have no objections. But one thing, we must keep this from my son-in-law. He can't know. Jason's mother was overjoyed. Good. Don't worry. Jason just wants to fulfill a wish. He doesn't intend to disrupt Lisa's family. So, shall we set the time for tomorrow afternoon? Okay. Let's go to the hospital together tomorrow afternoon. I was filled with doubts. What exactly are they planning to do? To figure out what was going on, the next day, I followed their car to the hospital. Before I even got out of the car, I could hear people outside discussing excitedly. Wow, what a touching love story. Yeah, the man has a terminal illness, and the woman refuses to leave him, determined to hold a wedding with him. What a beautiful love. Woo-hoo. This is pure love. I believe in love again. Hearing these words, a sense of foreboding started to creep into my heart. After getting out of the car, I hurried towards the crowd gathering. From a distance, I could see an arch decorated with flowers and 2 rows of seats beneath it. In the center of the arch stood a professional-looking pastor, with a couple standing to his left and right. The man in a suit was Jason Thornhill. I recognized him, having seen him before. He had lost a lot of weight. Even though his face was made up, the skin showing elsewhere was still yellow, and a closer look revealed that his hair was a wig. Jason had an intravenous needle inserted in his hand. The suit fit him at the shoulders, but it looked baggy on him, making him look even less handsome than he originally was. As for the woman in the wedding dress, her face was obscured by the veil, making it hard to see clearly. I clenched my fists, staring intently at her. I hoped she wasn't Lisa, but I knew deep down that she probably was. But without seeing her face, I still held on to a glimmer of hope. The pastor officiated the wedding, asking the bride and groom to recite their vows. Please bear witness to their wedding vows. Among the seated guests, I spotted my father-in-law and mother-in-law. They were sitting in the front row, next to an elderly couple I didn't recognize, who I assumed were Jason's parents. Now, please exchange the wedding rings. The groom may kiss the bride. I watched as Jason trembled, lifting the bride's veil. They exchanged rings and shared a kiss. The surrounding crowd erupted in applause and cheers, with some even moved to tears. I saw my father-in-law and mother-in-law with touched expressions, while Jason's parents embraced and wept. My heart sank completely. Lisa Daniels, your whole family is really something. You truly didn't take me into account at all. Over the years, all the savings in the family were managed by her. I earned money but never hesitated to buy her jewelry and handbags. During the holidays, I would always bring gifts when visiting her parents. And during the new year, I would give her parents a red envelope filled with a few $1,000s. In winter, when her feet were cold, I specifically sought out an old Chinese doctor for a herbal medicine bag. Whenever I could get home, I would make her herbal soup to soak her feet. I would even trim her toenails and keep her feet warm by placing them on my belly at night. Lisa claimed she wasn't good at cooking and didn't enjoy it, so I was the one who cooked, coming up with ideas for her favorite dishes. When I wasn't around, she would order takeout. When she had menstrual cramps, I would rub her belly, make her brown sugar water, accompany her to the doctor, and always kept the traditional Chinese medicine and painkillers she needed at home. Later, when she was diagnosed with endometriosis, making it difficult for her to conceive naturally, I never complained about it. I even kept it from my parents, fearing they would blame her. I thought anyway I wasn't in a hurry to have children. We could take our time to treat the issue. If it didn't work out, we could consider artificial insemination. Even if we couldn't have children, as long as our feelings were good, we could live like this for a lifetime. I racked my brain but couldn't figure out where I had wronged her. I treated her this way, but I never expected her to treat me like this. There was no time left for me to be sad. I quietly stepped out of the crowd, found the hospital security department, and asked for the surveillance footage from the cameras that captured the wedding. At first, they were reluctant, but after I distributed a few cigarettes and bitterly revealed that the bride was my wife, showing them a photo of our marriage certificate, I finally moved the security chief. To ensure the evidence was valid, I called a lawyer friend of mine, explained the situation, and asked him to help me retrieve and preserve the footage to ensure its legal validity. No matter what, I had to hold on to the evidence. I also took a photo of the scene and sent it to Lisa. "You look beautiful in a wedding dress." Indeed, she had always been beautiful. I had always felt that marrying her was my luck. I had always thought that, on our 5th wedding anniversary, I would hold a wedding for her again and have a custom-made wedding dress just for her. But she never gave me the chance. She wore a wedding dress for someone else. Ha ha ha, I look like a joke. I turned off my phone and drove to my suburban cat shelter. I love cats. These proud yet warm little lives always bring me solace. Moreover, in a few days there would be a CFA competition, and I had selected 2 Maine Coons bred for the contest. I needed to keep a close eye on their condition during this time. My marriage was already over. My career couldn't end alongside it. Could it? Didn't they say that when love life was disappointing, career would thrive? I comforted myself this way. When I arrived at the cat shelter, I heard my employee Nick on the phone with a customer. The customer originally reserved a cat in the store and had already paid the deposit, but suddenly found a tiny kitten in the green belt downstairs that hadn't fully opened its eyes. Unable to take care of it, she wanted to ask if we could keep the cat she reserved for a little longer. Perhaps it was the shock that hit me too hard. I suddenly wanted to do something good. "Hello, ma'am. The survival rate of kittens that haven't opened their eyes is very low. We have a mother cat here that is currently nursing. Why don't you bring the kitten here for us to take care of?" The other party was overjoyed and repeatedly agreed. About half an hour later, a beautiful woman hurried to the entrance of the cat shelter. "Excuse me, is the owner here?" She held a small kitten wrapped in a towel in her arms, pushed the door open with her elbow, and rushed inside. When I saw her face, I was taken aback. I am the owner. Did you go to Jangha number 1 elementary school? Were you in class 6? And was your homeroom teacher named Armstrong?" She widened her eyes and looked at me. "Yes, you are. Aaron Brown. Selena Lopez. It's you." Selena Lopez was my desk mate in elementary school. I remembered that when we were kids, she had short hair and was very thin, looking like a little boy. We even fought over a colorful eraser once. What a coincidence to meet her here. From her appearance, it was really hard to tell how old she was. She had short, messy hair, was dressed casually, and wasn't wearing any makeup, but there was a gentle and relaxed vibe about her. "Let's catch up later. Let's check on the kitten. I'm afraid this little one might not make it." Selena smiled bitterly. The kitten was only about the size of a palm, mewing weakly. I could feel its empty belly, and its body temperature was a bit low. "Selena, come to this room first. Nick, get the goat milk powder." After placing the kitten in a heated nest and feeding it 4 milliliters of goat milk, the kitten finally stopped crying. We both sighed in relief. "All right, we have a mother cat whose kittens weaned a couple of days ago. It should be just right for her to take care of this little one. Once the kitten warms up, I'll place it in the mother cat's litter box to get its scent. Hopefully, the mother cat will be willing to adopt it." After settling the kitten, we finally had time to catch up. Selena brushed her hair away from her eyes. "So you're running a cat shelter now?" "Yeah. What about you? Where are you working?" I partnered with a friend to open a psychological counseling office, and I'm also a counselor." "What areas do you primarily focus on?" "Haha. Our studio covers a lot of areas. Marriage, family, adolescent growth. We deal with all of it." Her bright, large eyes were fixed on me, with a hint of a smile, like the warmth of a winter fire. "I can tell you're not in a good mood. What's going on?" It felt too embarrassing to tell the truth, so I forced a smile and shook my head, not wanting to elaborate. Just then, the official phone number of the cat shelter rang, and without looking closely, I answered it. On the other end came Lisa Daniels' sharp voice. "Aaron Brown, what do you mean? Why did you block my number? Are you stalking me?" My anger surged up instantly. "Lisa Daniels, how dare you question me? Don't you know what you've done? We're not even divorced yet, and you're having a wedding with someone else. Don't you feel guilty? Do you have any right to complain? Damn it. We didn't do anything. It's just a wedding to fulfill his dream. Can't you be a bit less petty?" I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. Enough. Let's not say anything more. It's time for a divorce. Let's get divorced. After saying that, I hung up the phone angrily and looked apologetically at Selena. "Sorry for letting you witness this." Selena frowned slightly. "I should be the one saying sorry. I overheard your private matter, but may I ask, is your wife named Lisa Daniels? I think I know someone with that name." I showed her a picture of Lisa. Selena nodded, looking at me with an uncontrollable expression of sympathy. "Technically, I shouldn't speak ill of others. I'm not very familiar with Lisa Daniels. But since it's you, I think you have the right to know. She's 1 year younger than me, the belle of the Russian department at the Foreign Language Institute, and her boyfriend is her senior in high school, Jason Thornhill, who is a year ahead of me in the computer science department. Their relationship was quite sensational at our school." My head buzzed, and my voice trembled. "Can you tell me more about it? I also heard this secondhand, so I can't guarantee its accuracy, but it's pretty well known at our school." In short, Lisa Daniels pursued Jason Thornhill to the university he attended, and since military training, they had been openly dating. Lisa treated Jason very well, saving money to buy him a phone and computer, even doing his laundry, and accompanying him to classes when he didn't have any. The two of them even moved in together early on. Lisa cooked for Jason every day, specializing in stomach-friendly porridge and soups for him since he had a sensitive stomach. However, it seemed Jason didn't appreciate her efforts, and in his senior year, he started to get close to others, going out to bars and staying out all night. Lisa Daniels took the soup she made in a thermos and went everywhere looking for him, telling him that even if he didn't come home, he should at least drink the soup because it was good for his stomach. Later, it was Jason Thornhill who proposed the breakup, and Lisa Daniels was devastated for quite some time. Selena Lopez specifically dug out old posts from their university campus forum for me to see, and their drop by drop was evidence of how my wife once humbly loved another man. I can't describe how I feel right now. The woman I hold in my hands was once trampled by a man who is not as good as me. The key is that now, when that man turns around, my wife eagerly rushes back to him and even holds a wedding with him. How cheap is that? Selena Lopez whispered. At that time, this matter spread quite widely. Everyone from our few graduating classes knew about it and was following the gossip. After all, such a pure love-struck brain is quite a rare species. If your marriage is happy, I wouldn't say much, but I just heard you say she's getting married to someone else. She opened her phone for me to see. I just happened to see it on social media this morning. So, I thought I should tell you the truth. On Selena Lopez's social media, there was a photo posted by Lisa Daniels, a wedding 9 grid, captioned with 2 words, "Dream fulfilled." It's ridiculous. I wonder whose dream is being fulfilled. I asked Selena Lopez to send me the photo. I wanted to take a good look at it. The first time I met Lisa Daniels, I felt a light sorrow enveloping her brow, like the morning mist in a forest, like a girl in Jiangnan after the rain, resembling lilacs. She was the same after marriage. I thought this was her artistic temperament, that she was just that sentimental. But in the photo, she had tears in her eyes and a smile on her face, like blooming flowers, the light sorrow dissipating in the sunlight. I knew she was happy. So what does that make our relationship? What does our marriage mean? What does the time we spent together over the years mean? All the things I sacrificed. What do they count for? I feel like a joke. Selena Lopez handed me 2 tissues. You should wipe your tears. I touched my face in a daze and found it wet. Oh, so I was crying. Selena Lopez, am I ridiculous and pathetic? I feel like a clown. Ha ha ha. No, it's not like that. Selena Lopez said softly. To sincerely love someone has never been wrong. It is shameful to deceive others' feelings, and it's tragic for those who lose themselves in love. And you are innocent. I lifted my head, trying hard to stop the tears from falling. A man's tears are not lightly shed. It's just that the heart hasn't been hurt yet. Anyway, old classmate, I have to thank you. If it weren't for you, I would still be in the dark, being played around by them. I'm glad you don't blame me for being meddlesome. When Selena Lopez left, I gave her the purebred cat she had her eye on and told her that I would bring her another one after the little stray was weaned. Just consider it a thank you for telling me the truth. I'll treat you to a meal another day. I sighed. She comfortingly patted my shoulder. Old classmate, you. Take care. I smiled bitterly and waved my hand. Sorry for making you watch this joke. Selena Lopez looked at me with her clear eyes. Aaron Brown, you are an excellent person. You deserve a wonderful marriage and love. To sincerely love someone is never wrong. Don't let this make you lose faith in love. After sorting out my feelings, I returned home to pack my bags, planning to stay at the office of the cat shelter for a while. Lisa Daniels didn't like cats and had hardly ever been to my cat shelter. I left home because I really didn't want to run into her. After all, I had just learned the truth, and I was afraid that when I saw her, I wouldn't be able to control my emotions and might hit her. I didn't want to give her a reason to accuse me of domestic violence. The next day, I took 2 cats to compete abroad and scored quite well. After returning home, I found out that Lisa Daniels had been nearly frantic looking for me. I removed her phone number from the blacklist, and within 5 minutes, her call came through. Aaron Brown, how dare you blacklist me? Why haven't you contacted me? Do you know how worried I've been? How could you freeze our family savings card? Unfreeze it now. I urgently need money. As soon as the call connected, Lisa Daniels' furious voice came through. Before going abroad, I had frozen the savings card I gave her, which had $400,000 in it. I sneered. Do you still have the face to be angry? You're married to someone else. What do you want with me and my money? Take some time out, and let's get the divorce paperwork done. She let out a shriek. Divorce? I'm not getting a divorce. Why should I? Why are you so petty? Why do you care so much? I had no intention of arguing with her. I simply replied calmly, if you don't agree to a divorce by mutual consent, I will file a lawsuit. Your wedding with Jason Thornhill can serve as evidence of your bigamy. If you don't want to go to jail, then let's just go get the divorce certificate. If you still refuse, I will expose everything online and print it out to distribute at the hospital where Jason Thornhill is being treated. As long as you want your sweetheart to live a peaceful life, let's just get the divorce certificate. The voice on the other end immediately weakened. What sweetheart? Jason Thornhill is your first love. I already know about it. I'm fully aware of your little affair, so don't try to deny it. If we get a mutual divorce, I can still give you some money, but if I file for divorce, I will demand the division of our marital assets. I believe that during the first 2 years of our marriage, she intended to have a good life with me, managing the household finances well without any significant expenses. But once Jason Thornhill came looking for her, she became infatuated and disregarded everything. I checked the transaction history. In the previous years, her card expenses were all normal living expenses, but recently there were 2 large withdrawals, one of $20,000 and another of $50,000. One was for her wedding, and the other was for her first love's medical expenses. I won't hold you accountable for the $70,000 you transferred out. Since our marriage, I've been covering the household expenses, and I've never questioned your salary. If we get a mutual divorce, we'll each keep what we have. I won't take a penny from you, and I won't give you a penny either. I paused for a moment. If you don't agree, then we'll go through the legal process. In any case, I'm determined to divorce you. Suddenly, the voice on the other end burst into tears. Aaron Brown, don't you have any sympathy? Don't you have a conscience? We've been together for 5 years. Is this how you treat me? You jerk. You're shameless. Are you seeing someone else? I laughed in anger. She's turning the tables on me. I wouldn't waste my breath arguing with her. Fine, since you say that, wait for the summons. I've sent it to your parents' house. After saying that, I hung up and blacklisted her number again. I meant what I said. I wouldn't waste time with her. I cleared out all her things from the house and sent them to her parents' home. I changed the locks to the highest security electronic locks, ensuring that even if she called a locksmith, she wouldn't be able to get in. At the same time, I contacted my lawyer friend to handle the filing and other related procedures for me. Her mother called me. Nick, what did Lisa do wrong that you must divorce her? I sneered inwardly. Don't you know what she did wrong? Didn't you attend the wedding with Jason Thornhill? What are you pretending to be a good person for now? Aunt, you know Lisa and Jason Thornhill had a wedding, right? Oh, about that, let me explain. Lisa's mother forced a smile. Our families have a deep connection with the Thornhill family. Jason has liver cancer and doesn't have much time left. He wanted to have a wedding with Lisa before he passes. Besides that, they have nothing else, I promise you. I laughed lightly. Aunt, I have a biological mother, so please don't call yourself my mother. I don't recognize you. As for those two, they've had a wedding. Do they need anything else? I saw them kiss. Isn't that enough? Seeing that being humble didn't work, Lisa's mother began to morally blackmail me. Nick, how can you be so lacking in sympathy and empathy? Jason is about to die, and you're here nitpicking. Is that interesting? Besides, it takes 100 years of cultivation to share a boat and 1,000 years to share a bed. You and Lisa are married. Marriage means turning a blind eye sometimes. Why are you so calculative? Let me tell you, if you divorce, you won't find anyone better than Lisa. I scoffed. Don't worry, once I'm divorced, I won't go looking for someone who secretly had a wedding with their first love behind my back. No matter what you say, I'm determined to get this divorce. After saying that, I hung up the phone and blacklisted the number. The Daniels family has serious issues with their values. I explained the whole situation to my parents, and they supported my decision to divorce. Later, Lisa's mother even went to my mom, who scolded her and sent her away in frustration. The next time I saw Lisa Daniels was during the court mediation. She firmly insisted that our relationship had not broken down and refused to divorce under any circumstances. My lawyer presented evidence of her wedding with Jason Thornhill. The judge did not accept her claim about fulfilling her last wish and indicated that such behavior could be considered bigamy. To avoid being sued for bigamy and fearing the property settlement I proposed, Lisa Daniels finally agreed to the divorce during mediation. When signing the property division agreement, she looked at me with a sorrowful gaze. Aaron Brown, no matter what you think, I truly love you and want to spend my life with you. My feelings for Jason Thornhill are just sympathy, she said pitifully. Please wait for me. Once everything is over, I will come back to you. I rolled my eyes. Thank you, but please let me go. From now on, let's part ways and not interfere with each other. Okay. Lisa shook her head, biting her lip. Aaron, I know I hurt you. I can understand if you want to divorce me. Trust me, I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. How about I give you 2 babies then? Do you prefer girls or boys? I took 2 steps back. Please, can you stop talking nonsense? We're getting a divorce, so there's no relationship anymore. Let's pretend we don't know each other if we meet on the street. All right? Goodbye. Aaron Brown, you will regret divorcing me. You will definitely regret it. I quickly retreated with my lawyer friend. I had never noticed before how deeply flawed Lisa's way of thinking seemed. Clearly, when I pursued her initially, she appeared quite normal in every aspect. I shared this doubt with my lawyer friend, who sympathetically patted my shoulder. Let's just say your ex-wife is completely love-struck and never really loved you. Her previous thought probably was that since she couldn't be with her true love, she might as well find someone suitable and just get by. Covered my face. So my genuine feelings were just seen as settling for less in her eyes. How embarrassing. What a failure. At least the divorce was finalized. From the time I filed for divorce to successfully obtaining the certificate took about a month. And the little stray that Selena Lopez sent me was almost weaned. During this time, she kept in touch, asking me to send her pictures of the kitten to see how it was growing. The kitten grew quickly. After opening its eyes, it went from the size of a palm to 2 palms, from nursing to starting to eat cat food and canned food, getting bigger and stronger, meowing cutely. It was a long-haired calico, with a solid black and yellow back, a white chest and belly, for paws wearing white gloves, a long and plump tail, and its blue eyes still had not faded, meowing sweetly. I arranged to have dinner with Selena and brought the little kitten along. She named her Orange Maine Coon Sister Orange, and this little country cat was named Tangerine. The two cats got along well, cuddling together on the first day they met. It was also Selena's first time raising a cat, and she would often consult me whenever she encountered any problems, then invite me to dinner as thanks. As time went on, we became closer, our conversations flowed easily, and we felt more in sync. She was right. I shouldn't lose the ability to love just because I met the wrong person. Half a year after reuniting, I confessed my feelings to her. After confirming that I had truly moved on from my ex-wife's shadow, Selena agreed to be my girlfriend. I sold my previous marital home and bought a similar one near her studio, starting our cohabitation life. A year later, Selena took both Orange and Tangerine to my veterinary clinic to have them spayed. That day, I solemnly proposed to her. I decorated the pet hospital with flowers, ordered a cake, and invited her and my friends to witness my proposal. The main flower at the proposal was her favorite hydrangea. I remembered she once said she didn't like diamond rings, thinking they were a tax on intelligence, so I bought her a simple gold bracelet instead. That day, I saw the shimmering tears in her eyes. My proposal had succeeded. We set a wedding date, but a small accident forced us to move it up. Selena Lopez was pregnant. My parents were overjoyed and unhesitatingly offered an $88,000 betrothal gift along with 5 gold items. They would cover all the wedding expenses. Selena already had a fully paid house, and her parents bought her a small apartment in the city center, bringing the betrothal gift along with a fully paid BMW SUV as part of her dowry. While I was accompanying her to buy the gold items, my phone rang. I answered the call only to find it was my ex-wife calling. Aaron Jason Thornhill. He's gone. His funeral is next week. I responded with a hum, unsure of what to say. Lisa Daniels was already part of my past. Hearing her voice now stirred no emotional response in me. Out of politeness, I didn't hang up immediately. Darling, I'll be back with you soon. Let's start trying for a baby. Okay? If I have a baby, I want the name to include the character N. Upon hearing this, I immediately interrupted her. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. We've been divorced for a year and a half. I now have a fiancée, and she's been pregnant for over 2 months. Our wedding is scheduled for next week, so please don't disturb my life anymore. A scream came from the other end of the line. No, how can you? How can you? I quickly hung up, blocked the number, and looked up at my dear fiancée. Selena, do you want to choose another pair of bracelets? I think a golden jingle bracelet would look great on you. She playfully smiled at me, extending her wrist for me to put the bracelet on her. I knew I had a wonderful life ahead of me,